The Silent Sentinel. Admiral Sarah Chen stood at the observation deck of Titan Base, her dark eyes fixed on the massive shape taking form in the construction dock. The UES Defiant hung suspended in the void, its angular hull reflecting Saturn's dim light. Most alien civilizations would have called it ugly, a brutal contrast to their sleek, crystalline vessels. But that was exactly the point. "Status report," she commanded, her voice steady despite the weight of anticipation. "Final system checks are proceeding on schedule," replied Commander David Okonjo, his holographic presence flickering beside her. "The adaptive mimicry systems are fully operational. To any alien scan, will appear to be nothing more than an outdated mining vessel." Chen allowed herself a small smile. For 15 years, humanity had maintained a carefully crafted facade of technological inadequacy. While the Galactic Assembly's envoys smugly offered humanitarian aid to their primitive cousins, Earth's greatest minds had been hard at work. The Defiant was their masterpiece, a warship disguised as a relic. "And our guests?" Chen asked, referring to the Zenith Empire's inspection team currently touring Earth's primary shipyards in orbit. "Still thoroughly unimpressed, Admiral," Okonjo chuckled. "Ambassador Krell just finished a rather condescending speech about how they'll help us join the modern age within a few centuries." "Perfect." Chen turned to face the hologram fully. "They never did understand why we kept asking so many questions about their shield harmonics and weapon frequencies. Such generous teachers. The ship's true nature was a triumph of human ingenuity. While alien civilizations had pursued ever more exotic energy weapons and dimensional shields, humanity had taken a different approach. The Defiant's hull contained layers of metamaterials that could adapt their properties in microseconds, redirecting or absorbing enemy fire. Its weapons were deceptively simple, railguns accelerating projectiles to relativistic speeds, but with targeting systems that could predict enemy movements down to the quantum level. "Ma'am," a new voice cut in. Lieutenant Emma Santos appeared on another holographic panel. "We're picking up increased activity from the Zenith fleet at the edge of the system. 3 more battlecruisers just dropped out of hyperspace." Chen's expression hardened. The Zenith Empire had been growing bolder in recent months, positioning more ships near Earth under the guise of protective patrols. Their patience was wearing thin with humanity's perceived slow pace of development. "They're ahead of schedule," she noted. "How long until the Defiant's final calibrations are complete?" "4 hours, Admiral," Okonjo reported. "But we can have her combat ready in 2 if necessary." Chen nodded, her mind already calculating possibilities. "Begin evacuation of non-essential personnel from the construction dock. Lieutenant Santos, continue monitoring the Zenith fleet. I want to know if they so much as adjust their sensor arrays." "What about the inspection team?" Okonjo asked. "Let them complete their tour." In fact, Chen's lips curved into a slight smile, "Have Director Patel show them our failed attempts at energy weapon development. The more convinced they are of our incompetence, the better." As her officers acknowledged their orders, Chen returned her gaze to the Defiant. Its dark hull seemed to drink in the starlight, a predator waiting in plain sight. Humanity had learned long ago that true strength lay not in raw power, but in being underestimated. The Zenith Empire, like so many others, saw Earth as a primitive world struggling to join the galactic community. They measured advancement by how closely a species followed their predetermined technological path. The notion that someone might intentionally choose a different route never occurred to them. "Admiral," Santos's voice carried an edge of urgency. "The Zenith battlecruisers are adjusting their orbit. They're moving into a standard attack formation." "Right on cue," Chen murmured. "They're tired of waiting. Signal Director Patel to begin wrapping up the tour. Commander Okonjo, initiate startup sequences for the Defiance core systems. Keep them masked under maintenance protocols. The next few hours would determine humanity's future." But while the Zenith Empire expected to find an easy target, they would instead discover that humanity's greatest weapon had always been their ability to adapt, to think differently, to turn perceived weakness into strength. "Let them come," Chen said softly, watching as the distant shapes of Zenith warships began to glitter against the starfield. "It's time they learned why Earth never begged to join their empire." The Defiant waited silently in its dock, a guardian of humanity's true potential, ready to shatter alien preconceptions about what defined advanced civilization. The game of deception was about to end, and a new chapter in human history was about to begin. First Contact's price. The Zenith Empire's ultimatum came exactly as Admiral Chen had predicted. Ambassador Krell's hologram stood before Earth's United Defense Council, his crystalline form radiating contempt. "Your continued technological stagnation poses an unacceptable risk to galactic stability," Krell announced. "The Empire will no longer wait while you squander your potential. Accept our direct governance, or face immediate correction." General Maria Rodriguez, Earth's senior military commander, maintained a carefully neutral expression. "How generous of the Empire to be so concerned with our development. May we have time to consider your offer?" "You have one planetary rotation," Krell replied. His hologram flickered out, leaving the council chamber in tense silence. Deep within Titan Base's command center, Admiral Chen watched the exchange with grim satisfaction. Status of the Defiant. "All systems green," Commander Okonjo reported. "Adaptive mimicry is functioning perfectly. The Zenith sensors still read us as a mining vessel undergoing routine maintenance." Chen opened a secure channel to General Rodriguez. "They took the bait. Their fleet is positioning exactly where we predicted. The Zenith Empire's arrogance had always been their weakness. Their technology had gone unchallenged for so long that they'd forgotten the fundamental rule of warfare: never underestimate your opponent." "Launch sequence initiated," Lieutenant Santos announced. "Dock clamps releasing in 3, 2, 1. The Defiant slid from its berth like a shark emerging from deep water. To the Zenith sensors, it would appear as nothing more than a clumsy industrial vessel making way for actual military ships, ships that the Empire's intelligence suggested were Earth's only defense. "Multiple contacts," Santos reported. "Zenith battlecruisers moving to intercept Earth's orbital defense fleet. They're not even bothering to mask their approach vectors." Chen allowed herself a small smile. "Because they think they already know every card we can play." Tactical, status of the kinetic strike platforms. "All 30 platforms reading nominal," the tactical officer replied. "Masking fields are holding. The Zenith fleet hasn't detected them." While alien civilizations had focused on energy weapons and shields, humanity had quietly positioned clouds of seemingly harmless debris throughout their solar system. Each piece contained a miniaturized mass driver, waiting for the perfect moment. The Zenith fleet's formation was beautiful in its precision, 12 battlecruisers arranged in a perfect geometric pattern designed to maximize their energy shield coverage. Their golden hulls gleamed in the sunlight, a display of technological superiority meant to intimidate. "They're launching their final warning," Santos announced. "A demonstration strike against our primitive orbital defenses." The lead Zenith battlecruiser fired, its energy beam lancing out to vaporize one of Earth's defensive satellites. The explosion lit up orbital space, a clear message of what was to come. "Signal the orbital defense fleet to begin their rehearsed retreat," Chen ordered. "Make it look desperate and uncoordinated." She paused, watching the tactical display. "And notify all Earth forces, Operation Pandora is now active." The Defiant continued its seemingly aimless course, drifting closer to the Zenith formation. Its hull absorbed and redirected scanning beams, showing only what the enemy expected to see. "Enemy fleet advancing past the Mars orbital line," Santos reported. "They're maintaining tight formation, shields at maximum." "Perfect," Chen whispered. "They've forgotten that sometimes the simplest solutions are the most effective." Tactical, activate kinetic platforms Alpha through Delta. Target their shield generators. The debris field around the Zenith fleet suddenly came alive. Thousands of tiny mass drivers opened fire simultaneously, accelerating metal slugs to incredible velocities. The Zenith shields, calibrated to stop energy weapons, might as well have been tissue paper. Confusion rippled through the enemy fleet as their supposedly impenetrable defenses were shredded by what appeared to be random space debris. Before they could react, the Defiant dropped its disguise. "All batteries, execute firing pattern Sierra," Chen commanded. "Show them what humanity's been working on while they were busy feeling superior." The Defiant's hull transformed, metamaterials shifting to reveal rows of advanced railguns. Each one fired projectiles enhanced with gravitic technology, another, primitive, approach that the Zenith had dismissed centuries ago. The first salvo caught 3 Zenith battlecruisers in their suddenly vulnerable flanks. Their golden hulls crumpled under impacts moving at significant fractions of light speed. No energy shield could stop that much kinetic energy. "Enemy fleet breaking formation," Santos reported, unable to keep the satisfaction from her voice. "They're attempting to regroup, but their coordination is shattered." "They never considered that we might choose a different path," Chen said. "That we might look at their technology and deliberately go in another direction." She straightened in her command chair. "Signal all Earth forces, execute Phase 2. Let's show the galaxy what happens when you mistake patience for weakness." The battle for humanity's future had begun, and the Zenith Empire was about to learn that true advancement didn't always follow a predictable path. The breaking point. Supreme Commander VYX Tal of the Zenith Empire stared in disbelief at the tactical display aboard his flagship, the Golden Ascendancy. 5 of his most advanced battlecruisers lay crippled, their supposedly impenetrable shields bypassed by weapons his civilization had abandoned millennia ago. "Impossible," he hissed through crystalline teeth. They were nothing. Primitives barely able to reach their own moon. "Multiple new contacts detected," his sensor officer shouted. "Vessels emerging from the asteroid belt, they're mining ships." Across the solar system, humanity's true fleet revealed itself. Dozens of vessels, disguised as civilian craft, shed their camouflage. Each one represented a different approach to warfare, a unique interpretation of physical laws that the Zenith Empire had dismissed in their rush toward energy-based technology. Aboard the Defiant, Admiral Chen watched the next phase unfold. Status of the Quantum Entanglement Network. Fully operational, Commander Okonjo reported. "All Earth vessels are synchronized. The Zenith won't be able to predict our attack patterns." Chen nodded. The Zenith Empire relied on complex algorithms to coordinate their fleet movements, but humanity had developed something far more sophisticated, a neural network that allowed their ships to act as one, adapting faster than any computer could calculate. "Launch the swarm," she ordered. From the Defiant's hull, thousands of tiny objects emerged. To Zenith sensors, they appeared as malfunctioning debris, their signatures too small to warrant concern. That was their final mistake. "By the eternal light," VYX Tal whispered as the objects surrounding his fleet suddenly changed course with impossible precision. Each one was a microdrone, carrying a payload of engineered bacteria, another, primitive, technology the Zenith had abandoned. The drones attached themselves to the Zenith ship's hulls. Within seconds, the bacteria began breaking down the exotic alloys, creating microscopic fissures in the previously impervious armor. "Their hulls are compromised," Santos reported with cold efficiency. "Targeting solutions updated to exploit structural weaknesses." The Defiant's railguns spoke again, but this time each round carried a secondary payload. As they struck the weakened Zenith hulls, they released clouds of smart dust, nanomachines that invaded the ship's systems through the bacterial breach points. "We're losing control of auxiliary systems," VYXTAL's engineering officer reported, panic evident in his voice. These machines are rewriting our core protocols." Chen's voice carried across all frequencies, a message meant for both friend and foe. For centuries, you dismissed us as primitives because we asked questions about technologies you considered obsolete. You never wondered why we were so interested in the basics of metallurgy, biology, and quantum mechanics. The Zenith fleet's formation completely collapsed as ship after ship lost power. The smart dust had done its work, turning their own advanced systems against them. You built your empire on the assumption that technological progress only moves in one direction, Chen continued. You forgot that true innovation comes from looking at problems from every angle, not just the most obvious one. Aboard the Golden Ascendancy, Vyxtal watched helplessly as his mighty fleet was systematically dismantled by a species he had dismissed as barely sentient. How? He demanded. How did you hide all of this? We didn't hide, Chen replied. We showed you exactly what we were doing. You just assumed that because we weren't following your path, we weren't advancing at all. The Defiant moved through the disabled Zenith fleet like a predator among prey. Its adaptive hull absorbed every desperate counterattack, learning and evolving with each impact. Signal from the Golden Ascendancy, Santos announced. They're requesting terms of surrender. Chen smiled, but there was no warmth in it. Tell them Earth's terms are simple. The Zenith Empire will acknowledge humanity's sovereignty and withdraw all forces from our solar system. Additionally, they will publicly admit to the Galactic Assembly that they severely underestimated Earth's technological capabilities. As the battle drew to a close, Chen turned to her crew. Today marks a new era for humanity. We've proven that there's more than one path to the stars, and sometimes the road less traveled leads to the greatest victories. The Defiant's hull gleamed in the sunlight, its surface rippling with patterns that defied Zenith scanning technology. It stood as a testament to human ingenuity, proof that innovation didn't always mean following in another's footsteps. Victory was theirs, but Chen knew this was just the beginning. The galaxy would soon learn that humanity's greatest strength wasn't in copying others' achievements, but in finding their own unique ways to solve problems. And that lesson, she thought, was worth all the years of being underestimated. Echoes of victory. The Galactic Assembly chamber buzzed with tension as representatives from 100 alien civilizations gathered for an emergency session. News of the Zenith Empire's defeat had spread across the galaxy like a shockwave, shattering centuries of established beliefs about technological progression. Ambassador Elena Santos, daughter of Lieutenant Santos and Earth's first representative to the Assembly, stood at the podium. Behind her, a hologram showed the battle's aftermath, disabled Zenith warships being towed by vessels that, until recently, had been dismissed as primitive mining craft. Fellow sentients, she began, her voice steady. For too long, this assembly has operated under the assumption that there is only one path to advancement. Today, we prove otherwise. In the highest tier of the chamber, the archivist's crystalline forms flickered with agitation. For millennia, they had catalogued and directed the galaxy's technological progress, ensuring all species followed their prescribed evolution of development. This is unprecedented, First Archivist NXVAR protested. The humans used banned technologies, corrupted established protocols. Banned by whom? Elena countered. By an assembly that never considered alternatives. We didn't corrupt your protocols, we transcended them. Aboard the Defiant, now in orbit around the Assembly's neutral world, Admiral Chen watched the proceedings with quiet satisfaction. The ship's adaptive hull shifted constantly, confounding the countless scanning attempts from curious alien vessels. Another delegation requesting permission to study our primitive technology, Commander Okonjo reported, amusement in his voice. This time it's the Helix Concordat. They're particularly interested in our bacterial engineering. Send them the same response as the others, Chen replied. We're happy to collaborate, but we won't simply hand over our innovations. They need to understand the thinking behind them. The Defiant had become a symbol across the galaxy, not just of military power, but of the potential that lay in questioning established wisdom. Its very existence challenged the foundation of galactic technological hierarchy. In the assembly chamber, Elena activated a second hologram, showing Earth's educational facilities. We propose a new approach to galactic development. Instead of prescribing a single path, we should encourage diverse technological exploration. Every species brings unique perspectives, different ways of solving problems. The chamber erupted in debate. Some representatives recoiled at the idea of deviating from established patterns, while others leaned forward, intrigued by the possibilities. Look how they achieved faster-than-light travel, Elena continued. While you manipulated exotic particles, we found ways to bend space itself using principles of quantum entanglement combined with gravitic engineering. Different path, same destination. The archivists conferred among themselves, their crystalline forms resonating with unease. Humanity's success threatened not just their military dominance, but their entire understanding of progress. And what of the dangers? Second Archivist Krelvac demanded. There are reasons certain technologies were abandoned. The risks can be managed through understanding, Elena interrupted. We studied your histories, learned from your mistakes. Then we found new ways to approach old problems. That's the real lesson here. Innovation comes not from following a predetermined path, but from questioning every assumption. Aboard the Defiant, Chen received a priority message from Earth Command. More alien vessels were arriving in Earth's solar system, not as conquerors this time, but as supplicants, seeking to learn. They're beginning to understand, Okonjo observed. That strength doesn't come from having the most advanced technology, but from having the wisdom to use technology creatively, Chen finished. And the courage to forge your own path. In the assembly chamber, a vote was called. The proposal to establish a new framework for technological development, one that encouraged diversity of approach, passed by a narrow margin. The age of rigid technological progression was ending. This is just the beginning, Elena concluded. Humanity stands ready to share our knowledge, but more importantly, to share our way of thinking. Together, we can explore not just the stars, but the infinite possibilities of innovation itself. The Defiant sensors detected a subtle change in the energy signatures of the alien ships surrounding it. Where once there had been dismissal or hostility, now there was curiosity, respect, and perhaps a touch of fear. Humanity had proven that being underestimated was perhaps their greatest advantage. They had turned their perceived weakness into unprecedented strength, and in doing so, changed the galaxy's understanding of what it meant to be truly advanced. The echoes of their victory would resonate through the cosmos for generations to come, a testament to the power of thinking differently. A new dawn. 5 years after humanity's shocking victory over the Zenith Empire, the Sol system had transformed. Where once Earth stood alone, now a vast network of collaborative research stations orbited every major planet, each one hosting scientists from dozens of alien civilizations eager to learn humanity's unique approach to technology. Admiral Chen, now Earth Fleet Commander, stood in the newly constructed Harmony Station above Mars, watching as vessels of various designs moved through space. Some still bore the sleek crystalline aesthetics of traditional galactic engineering, while others showed clear human influence, hybrid designs that merged multiple technological philosophies. The Arcturian delegation has arrived, Commander Okonjo reported, his hologram materializing beside her. Now serving as Earth's chief of technological exchange, he'd been instrumental in managing the flood of alien interest in human innovation. How many does that make now? Chen asked, though she already knew the answer. 57 species in the past month alone, he replied. They're particularly interested in our gravity manipulation techniques. Apparently, our primitive approach to warping spacetime is more efficient than their quantum tunnel drives. The Defiant, now a legend throughout the galaxy, patrolled nearby. Its hull had evolved far beyond its original design, incorporating discoveries made through collaboration with alien scientists. Yet it retained its distinctive human characteristics, the unpredictability, the innovative use of basic principles that still confounded traditional galactic thinking. In the distance, a Zenith diplomatic vessel approached the station. The once mighty empire had undergone its own transformation, humbled by defeat but ultimately strengthened by embracing change. Their former supreme commander, HFY now served as their ambassador of scientific exchange. Admiral HFY greeted as he entered the observation deck, his crystalline form slightly less rigid than before. The preliminary results from our joint research project are extraordinary. By combining your bacterial engineering with our crystal matrix technology, we've developed an entirely new form of computational biology. Chen nodded, remembering the days when the Zenith had dismissed such primitive experiments. That's what happens when we stop assuming there's only one right way to solve a problem. A sudden alert drew their attention. A massive ship was emerging from deep space, unlike anything seen before. Its hull seemed to flow like liquid metal, yet readings showed it was composed of ordinary materials arranged in ways that defied conventional physics. The first contact vessel is ready, Okonjo announced with pride. This was humanity's latest achievement, a ship designed specifically for discovering and communicating with new civilizations, incorporating technologies and approaches from across the galaxy. But at its heart was pure human innovation, the ability to adapt, to think creatively, to see possibilities where others saw limitations. You've changed everything, HFY observed, watching the ship maneuver. Not just technology, but how we think about progress itself. Chen smiled. That was always our real strength. Not the weapons we built or the tactics we developed, but our ability to question, to imagine different possibilities. The observation deck filled with representatives from various species as the first contact vessel prepared for its maiden voyage. Each one brought their own knowledge, their own way of looking at the universe. And humanity had shown them that these differences weren't weaknesses, they were opportunities. Remember when you thought we were primitives? Chen asked HFY. The Zenith ambassador's crystalline form shimmered with what might have been embarrassment. We measured advancement by how closely others followed our path. We never considered that there might be paths we hadn't discovered. The first contact vessel activated its engines, a revolutionary system that combined human ingenuity with technologies from a dozen different species. It moved with grace that belied its size, a testament to what could be achieved when different approaches worked in harmony. That's humanity's gift to the galaxy, Chen said, watching as the ship prepared for its historic mission. Not our technology or our weapons, but the understanding that true progress comes from embracing different perspectives, from being willing to try new approaches even when the old ones seem perfectly adequate. As the vessel disappeared into deep space, carrying representatives from Earth and countless alien worlds, Chen reflected on how far they'd come. From being dismissed as primitives to becoming teachers, from hiding their capabilities to sharing them openly, humanity had transformed not just themselves but the entire galactic community. The universe is vast, she said, addressing the assembled representatives. And there are infinite ways to explore it. We've only just begun to discover what's possible when we stop limiting ourselves to a single path. The Defiant passed by the observation window, its adaptive hull gleaming with possibilities yet unexplored. It was no longer just a warship but a reminder that sometimes the greatest discoveries come from those everyone else underestimated. A new dawn had truly risen for the galaxy, and humanity stood ready to help light the way forward, not as conquerors or superiors, but as pioneers who had learned that every perspective, every approach, had value. The age of rigid thinking was over. The era of infinite possibility had begun.